Hey there guys, I'm SonicGhost and welcome back to some more Let's Play Splatoon. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Amiibo functionality that Splatoon has to offer. So first things first, let's go ahead and take a look at the different Splatoon Amiibos that were released for the game. So Splatoon has a total of 8 Amiibos that you can go ahead and buy and use with said game. So you have the Inkling Boy, Girl, and Squid, which you can get in a normal color scheme that you'll see advertised with Splatoon, or an inverted color scheme as I like to think of it. We can get the girl in green hair, the boy in blue hair, and then a orange squid as compared to the orange haired girl, the blue haired boy, and then the green colored squid. You can also pick up a Callie and Marie amiibo, which I'm really a big fan of these two amiibos because I'm really a big fan of Callie and Marie in Splatoon. So I'm very happy they have their own separate amiibo as well. And each one of these amiibos does something different in the game, but I should mention that the Inkling Boy, Girl, and Squid, they all do the same thing regardless of their color. So the standard colored Inkling Girl, for example, will do the same thing as the different colored Inkling Girl. So for this video, we're just going to be taking a look at the normal colored versions of each amiibo. So with that said, let's go ahead and take a look at the Inkling Girl amiibo first. Dude, let me tell you how I'm so glad you called me. I'm picking up a fresh vibe from you. Tell me, are you a fan of charger weapons? Cause that's my kind of thing. Making up challenges where you gotta use chargers. Are you game? Come to think of it, you've been poking around down Octo Valley, yeah? Yep, I saw you in that rad outfit fighting those things. It looked super fun. But you know what would be even radder? If you used a charger weapon. That's my challenge to you. Clear missions with a charger, and I'll hook you up. So here is every single level you can go ahead and play with the Squid Girl amiibo. As you can see, there's a good amount of levels here, but you're not playing through every single level from single player. You get a choice of 3 levels per world, and then that world's boss to fight. On screen now is a list of stuff you can go ahead and unlock by playing the Squid Girl amiibo's challenges. And you can get a variety of different things that you can see here, from gear to extra unlockables in the game, or just money. So the Squid Girl amiibo challenges are good to play just like every other amiibo challenge, but for this one I'm going to go ahead and show off level 17, the Auto Sniper Ramparts, as the Squid Girl has you using a charger in every single level. So I figured the best way to show off a sniper rifle is to play on level with snipers. So, as I just mentioned, the charger is just basically a sniper rifle. So the best strategy with the charger is to hide behind a wall and then charge up your shot to its max capacity. Charging up a charger weapon to its max will let you do the most damage. And in single player, will let you kill basically any enemy in one shot. The downside obviously to a sniper, as you can imagine, is that you have to charge your shot for a while. And because of that, you're left open in a lot of cases, so you have to be very careful when playing as a charger, because you can easily be a target by just standing there for too long and just getting a shot ready. So you have to play things very safe when using a charger. Best thing to do is when charging up your shot, hide behind a wall, and then move out once your shot is fully charged. If you feel like you're going to be attacked, then just go in squid form, and that will cancel out your charge. So unfortunately, you do have to recharge your weapon, but at least it keeps you safe. So I'd rather take that risk at that point than, you know, to die. It's kind of important not to die. But I will say though that out of all the amiibo challenges, the Squid Girls are probably my least favorite just because I'm not a fan of the sniper class. So because of that, I don't find myself going back to these challenges all too often. It's not that these are bad by any means. Like I said, I'm just not a fan of the sniper class. So that's why I personally don't get too much enjoyment out of this one. But they're still fun nonetheless. And they do offer a good challenge, especially for certain bosses. And for certain bosses, the charger just breaks them. Like, one of the best ones I can think of is actually the first boss, because you can just easily snipe that thing from a distance and never have to climb up its back. So because of that, you never have to deal with the hardest part of the fight, which is worrying about those side panels. So the charger in some cases can make the game a lot easier. Which is why you can see now that in single player, we weren't allowed to choose what gun we were able to use. We were always stuck with the default gun in the game, which is just a standard splat gun. So these amiibo challenges let you use different weapons, and because of that, you get to go ahead and experiment around here a little bit before you go and play the multiplayer. So we're getting a sneak peek at one of the weapons we can go ahead and use in multiplayer by just looking at these amiibo challenges here. So with that said, we're just about done with this level here. And we're coming up actually to something I didn't really get to show off in the single player because there's no need for me to ever go back to a level. But when you caught the Zapfish in a level and you replay it, that Zapfish is replaced with a stuffed version of it, a fake Zapfish. It looks so cute and adorable, and at the same time it's pretty funny to see that the Zapfish you're collecting now is just a stuffed animal. So I find that to be a nice touch. But there we go, we beat that challenge, so let's go ahead and swap over to the Squid Boy. Sup player, thanks a ton for calling me up. I heard you've been making waves around the city. And I got an inkling that you're the type of inkling who's up for the challenge. Want to give one of my roller challenges a go? I heard you've been doing work in Octo Valley. Wearing that crazy getup, wrecking Octobros and junk. That's when I knew for sure that you got what it takes to try my challenges. All you gotta do is beat those same missions using a roller weapon. So are you game? I got some dope rewards lined up for you if you can pull it off. So here's a list of every single challenge you can go ahead and play here with the Squid Boy. Again, we have 3 levels from single player and then the respectful bosses from each world. And once again, here's a list of every single reward you can go ahead and get from the Squid Boy amiibo. And again, there's some pretty good rewards in here, from gear to extra unlockables in the game to just some standard old money. So with that said, let us go ahead and pick a level to play here with the Squid Boy. And I'm going to go ahead and choose this level right here, the Pinwheel Power Plant. So I'm going to go ahead and choose this level just because it's a harder level to play with a weapon that you have to be up close and personal with, which is the roller. The roller is one of my personal favorite weapons in Splatoon, and when the game first was coming out, this was looked at to be a very overpowered weapon just because in the global test fire, this weapon was used almost all the time. It was ridiculous, but it's for a good reason. The roller actually does a lot of damage. You have flings, which is your little short-ranged attack, but when you're up close to an enemy, you can just go ahead and roll over them with the roller, and that does a lot of damage. So doing so, you can go ahead and not only cover up a lot of ink, but you can go ahead and just do a lot of damage all at once. Only if the enemy doesn't notice you. Because if the enemy does notice you, they can obviously just move out of the way or attack you before you can attack them. So think of the roller basically as a shotgun, because this is a very powerful weapon and it's very good close up. But when you're too far away or someone notices, the weapon isn't as effective anymore. So just like the charger, you gotta play things pretty strategically here, because you can't just run up to something and then just attack it with a roller and be good to go. It won't always work that way. So there's your tip for the roller. And honestly, like I said earlier, this is one of my favorite weapons in the game, because one thing I like to do, and you'll see me do it in the multiplayer, is I like to play as a roller, sneak up on an enemy, and then just blindside them with the attack. Because it's a very fun weapon just to sneak up on enemies with, since it does a lot of damage for the most part. Plus, it covers so much ink, so for modes like Turf War, the weapon is really useful just to cover up enemy ink in a short amount of time. So you'll be seeing me use the roller in multiplayer definitely, as it is a weapon I do come back to quite a lot. But here, this is one of those cases where that short range can be a little bit of a problem, because you're trying to get a pathway up here, and as you can see, I have to be pretty close to the edge to even get my ink to attach to that platform. So unfortunately, that means I have to play things pretty dangerously in some cases. So for single player, some things weren't designed for the roller in mind, obviously, so it's still possible, but you might just have a harder time. Like me killing these enemies is a good example of that. Luckily, I still got bombs, so I don't really need to worry too much about my shots not reaching because I could just bomb everything. I really didn't think that was going to happen. I was hoping I was going to stick to the edge, but unfortunately I did not. And I had to play things really strategically here if I want to climb back up the wall. I mean, I didn't really need to because there was that geyser down there, so I could have just rode up the geyser and been okay, but I was already halfway and flinging the wall, so I just figured just continue the job. Alright, let's climb up this wall, grab our little fake Zapfish, and call it a day. So there you go. That's the Squid Boy challenge in a nutshell. You're just going around the levels and fighting everything with rollers. One fun, yet stressful thing to do is actually to fight the final boss using the roller. Because trying to fight DJ Octavio, who needs long-range attacks with a roller, isn't the easiest thing in the world to do. Let's just say that. But let's go ahead now and swap over to the Squid Amiibo. Why hello there, friendo. Thank you kindly for summoning me here. I can see you're just itching for some ways to test your skills. Well, I've been thinking up some challenges that might float your boat. What do you say? Think you're up for the task? By the by, I heard you've been making quite a splash over in Octo Valley. In fact, I saw you at it, wearing outlandish gear and fighting odd creatures. I think that proves they have what it takes to attempt my challenges. What do you have to lose? I have some nice rewards for you if you win. So here's every single level you can go ahead and play with the Squid Amiibo. And you can go ahead and place 3 levels per world and that world's boss, just like the other 2 Amiibos. And just like before, here's a list of everything you can go ahead and unlock using the Squid Amiibo. And I find the Squid Amiibo to have some pretty good rewards in it. So out of all the Amiibo challenges to play, you definitely want to go ahead and play the Squid Amiibo challenges. Not just for the rewards, because this is probably my favorite set of challenges to play. And we're actually going to be doing 2 challenges from the Squid Amiibo just because there's 2 different varieties we can go ahead and play here. So let's just go ahead and find a good level here. So I'm going to go ahead and play on level 18 here, the Spinning Spreaders. As you can see here, we're playing with the Kraken special ability. So we don't have a different weapon, but we have a different way to play things. So if we transform into a squid, we're not a squid anymore, we're a Kraken. And the Kraken, as you can see, is really strong because one jump and this thing can kill pretty much anything. Not just that, but we move a heck of a lot faster than we would in a squid form. So the Kraken as a whole is a really cool ability. And as you can see as well, when we're swimming with the Kraken, we're creating a trail of ink. So we don't have to worry about putting down our own ink in order to move around, just like how we would normally. So that's a pretty cool thing with the Kraken. But the downside here is every single level is a speed run basically, so we have no time to waste, and we need to get through these levels as fast as possible, which is why they give us this special ability basically as an unlimited supply, because in multiplayer, when you're using the Kraken, you don't have nearly as much time as you do here, because in the multiplayer mode, you only have a couple seconds to actually stay as the Kraken transformation. But in the single-player Amiibo challenges, they give it to you pretty much the entire time, because you pretty much need to have this for the entire mode if you're going to actually go this fast. But with that, we've already gotten our key to go ahead and grab the Zapfish, and we're already done with the level. I pretty much never needed to touch my gun. I was just a Kraken the entire time. The Kraken is one of my favorite special abilities to use in Splatoon, and you'll probably see me use that from a couple times in the multiplayer mode because it's just that good to me. But let's go ahead now and show off another challenge, which is probably one of the harder challenges to do in the game, the limited ink challenges. And the best one to show this off with is the Invisible Avenues level, because not only do we have to worry about a limited ink supply here, but we can't see the platforms. So this level just became a lot more stressful. So these limited ink challenges in Splatoon are probably the hardest things they do in the game, just because the amount of ink you see on the screen, that is all you get. So you really don't have much ink to work with. So this is a very, very strategical mode. You have to be very conservative with your ink, because if you're not, you're just going to have a hard time getting through levels now. and you really, really don't want to run out of ink at a level like this. So in cases like this one here, where I'm just being chased by an enemy, I don't even want to use my ink, just because I don't want to waste it. Some enemies you're going to want to kill because they're very dangerous, but others you're probably just want to go ahead and avoid, just because, well, your ink. You don't want to waste too much ink. And here I actually got lucky to not die, so I'm going to have to unfortunately waste a lot of ink to get back up here. And are you serious? This guy is not making my life easy right now. That's one of those worst case scenarios where you're going to want to plan out your routes for a lot of these levels so you don't use too much ink at once, but it's not always going to work out in your favor, unfortunately, just because there's going to be some things that you probably don't account for that's going to happen, like an enemy getting up your face like that and doing a lot of damage or just pushing you off the side. So you have to be very conservative. And a level like this where you have to be very careful where you walk is not a great place to have a limited supply of ink. So I'm going to play things very, very carefully here, because if I don't, then I'm going to have a hard time. I'm very surprised I made that jump, by the way. So in this section here, what you really want to do is you want to pay attention to where your aiming reticle is, because when it's solid, that means there's ground below you that you can go ahead and shoot. So the best thing to do in that area for conserving ink is just to look down the ground and just pay attention to where you can shoot. Then you can go ahead and walk in that said path. So here I'm really wanting to grab the shield because I'm going to need that extra armor. And now comes the hard part, because I really don't have that much ink to work with, and I have all these guys to take down. So this is why I wanted that armor. So get rid of you. Get rid of this guy. And I knew that was going to happen. We're just going to ignore these guys because we don't have enough ink to deal with them. We only have enough ink just to grab our Zapfish. But with that, we completed the level. That is probably the hardest level to actually complete with the limited ink handicap. But once you do so, it feels very rewarding in the end. So with that said, that's pretty much every single Amiibo challenge. But that isn't it for the Amiibos. So now, we're going to go ahead and take a look at the Callie and Marie Amiibos. Hold on to your tender... Wait, where's Marie? And where am I? I was just about to play a show, and the next thing I knew, I showed up here. Say, you don't want to hear me sing, do you? I'm taking requests. So as you can see, the Callie, and the same thing goes for the Marie Amiibo, basically is just a sound test, if you want to think about it. We get to listen to them perform different songs. So I'm not going to be playing all these. If you actually want to hear all these songs, I recommend that you look these up on your own time. But I'm going to go ahead and play Ink Me Up, because this is one of my favorite themes in Splatoon. It's so good. So we're going to play a little bit of Ink Me Up, and then we'll take a look at the Marie Amiibo. So as you can see here, we're in a Splatfest themed area. So this is how Splatfest would look, and we're going to cover this pretty much near the end of the series actually, because this is a multiplayer mode that no longer exists unfortunately, but we will be talking about it regardless. But when you're using the Callie Marie Amiibos, we get to go ahead and see the night setting, we get to see a bunch of different Squid Kids dancing around, we get some Miiverse posts here, which is very interesting to see all these come up with your Amiibo. And it's all the Callie and Marie love, because as you can see, we're wearing shirts that show either Callie or Marie, which is actually one of the Splatfest themes. It was the final Splatfest theme, funny enough. So that's pretty much what these Amiibos do. So we'll go ahead and take a look at the sound selection for the Marie Amiibo next. And then from there, that's pretty much all the Amiibo content. So let's go ahead and swap over to the Marie Amiibo now and see what songs she has for us to listen to. Hello, Inkopolis. Marie is here to rock ya. Wait, who are you? What am I doing in this tacky box? Whatever, I played worse venues than this. So, what do you want to hear? So, as you can see, Marie's sound selection is pretty similar to Callie's, but we'll just go ahead and listen to something different. So we'll listen to the last song, Tide Goes Out. And now we'll go ahead and see the venue in Marie's style. So we're wearing Marie's shirt instead of Callie's. And this is some funky, fresh beats right here. And this time, Callie and Marie are just kind of sitting on the edge of their... Well, at least Callie is, but... Marie's standing up doing a stand performance while Callie's just kind of chilling out and watching. Because some of these songs will be really just one of them singing. So, in this case, Callie is having her own break time, and Marie is having to starlight the show here. So, again, we can go ahead and take a look around. We can go ahead and see all the different posts for Callie and Marie. And yeah, that's pretty much all the Amiibo content I want to go ahead and show. So, with that said, there's really nothing else for us to take a look at single player wise, which means we're ready to jump into the real meat of Splatoon, the multiplayer, and there is a lot to cover for multiplayer. So, with that said, the next time we meet in Splatoon, we're going to start our giant multiplayer journey by just actually going over the fundamentals of the Splatoon multiplayer. So with that said, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.